The carnival lights sparkled like fallen stars across the December evening. Jack Morrison walked slowly through the crowd, his daughter Emma's small hand tucked safely in his. At 8 years old, she still loved the simple magic of carousels and cotton candy. "Dad, can we ride the Ferris wheel?" Emma asked, her breath forming little clouds in the cold air. "Maybe in a bit, sweetheart," Jack said, adjusting his worn jacket. Money was tight since the divorce. He worked double shifts at the warehouse, but moments like these made everything worthwhile. They were heading toward the hot chocolate stand when Jack heard it, a sound that made his heart clench. Crying, not the bratty tantrum kind, but the desperate sobbing of a truly frightened child. He turned and saw her, a little girl, maybe 5 years old, standing alone near the carousel. She wore an expensive white coat, now smudged with dirt from where she'd clearly fallen. Tears streamed down her face as she spun in circles, searching. Jack looked around for parents rushing toward her. No one came. "Stay right here," he told Emma, then walked over and knelt down. "Hey there, are you lost?" The girl nodded, hiccuping through her tears. "What's your name?" "Sophie," she whispered. "Okay, Sophie, I'm Jack, and that's my daughter Emma. We're going to help you find your mom. Can you tell me what she looks like?" Sophie's lip trembled. She has yellow hair and a pretty red dress. She was talking on her phone, and I saw the carousel, and I just wanted one ride, and now I can't find her. Jack's chest tightened. He knew that panic. The world was full of dangers for little ones. "It's okay. We'll find her." He stood and scanned the crowd, but hundreds of people milled about. "Emma, come here, sweetie." Emma approached, her eyes kind as she looked at Sophie. "Can you hold Sophie's hand while I take her to the security office?" But as they started walking, Sophie suddenly grabbed Jack's sleeve. "Wait, she might come back to the carousel. What if she's looking for me and I leave?" "Smart kid." Jack nodded. "You're right. Emma, you two stay right here by this bench. Don't move. I'll go get security." He started to walk away when Sophie's voice stopped him. "Please don't leave me." The fear in her voice was raw. Jack understood. He thought of Emma, how terrified she'd be. "All right, we all stay together." He pulled out his phone and called the carnival security line posted on a nearby sign. While they waited, Emma sat with Sophie, chatting quietly, trying to distract her. Jack kept scanning the crowd, looking for a frantic woman in red. 15 minutes passed, then 30. Security had put out announcements. Still no mother. Sophie was shivering now, despite her coat. Jack took off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. "It's okay. She's looking for you too. She's probably so worried. What if she left?" Sophie whispered. "Parents don't leave their children," Jack said firmly. "Trust me, she's searching everywhere." Finally, after nearly an hour, Jack heard commotion. A woman's voice, sharp with panic and anger, cutting through the crowd. "Where is she? Where's my daughter?" Jack turned and saw her, tall, blonde, dressed in an elegant red dress and cream coat. She was with security, her face pale with terror. "Sophie!" she cried out. "Mommy!" Sophie broke away and ran. The woman dropped to her knees, gathering Sophie into her arms, sobbing openly. "Oh my God! Oh my baby! I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." Jack watched, feeling that familiar ache in his chest. He remembered holding Emma like that after she'd wandered off in a grocery store once. The woman looked up, mascara streaked down her face. "Was it you? Did you find her?" "Yes, ma'am. She was scared, but she's all right." The woman stood, still clutching Sophie, and walked over. Up close, Jack could see the genuine devastation in her eyes. "I was on a work call. 1 minute she was right next to me. The next..." Her voice broke. "Thank you. Thank you for staying with her, for keeping her safe." "Anyone would have done the same," Jack said quietly. "No," the woman said, shaking her head. "Not everyone. I've learned it the hard way." She paused. "I'm Victoria Chen." The name meant nothing to Jack. "Jack Morrison. And this is Emma." Victoria looked at Emma, managing a small smile. "Thank you too, sweetheart." They stood there in the cold, an awkward moment settling between them. "I'd like to thank you properly," Victoria said. Please, let me take you both to dinner. Tomorrow night, anywhere you like. Jack shook his head. That's not necessary. It is to me. Something in her voice made him pause. Not entitlement, but genuine gratitude. All right, he heard himself say. They exchanged numbers. Victoria thanked him 3 more times before finally leaving, Sophie glancing back with a small wave. The next evening, Jack borrowed his brother's nicer car and took Emma to the address Victoria had sent. His jaw dropped when they pulled up. It was one of those restaurants with valet parking and no prices on the menu. Dad, are you sure we're at the right place? Emma whispered. Before he could answer, Victoria appeared at the entrance, wearing a simple but elegant dress. Sophie held her hand, wearing a blue velvet outfit. Jack, Emma, thank you for coming. Dinner was surprisingly comfortable. Victoria asked about their lives with genuine interest. Jack found himself talking about his work, about raising Emma alone, about the small joys that filled their days. Victoria listened in a way that made him feel heard. Not pitted, just respected. When Sophie and Emma went to look at the dessert display, Victoria leaned forward. I want to tell you something. I run Chin Technologies. Maybe you've heard of it. Jack hadn't, but nodded politely. I've built a company worth billions. I've won awards. I've been on magazine covers. She paused. But last night, when I couldn't find Sophie, none of that mattered. I would have traded every dollar, every achievement, just to know she was safe. Her eyes glistened. You gave me that. You didn't have to stay with her. You had your own child to care for. But you did anyway. Jack felt uncomfortable with the praise. I just did what was right. Exactly. Victoria smiled. That's what makes it matter. Jack, I'd like to offer you a position at my company. Head of Community Outreach. Your job will be to find and support people who do the right thing when no one's watching. To fund programs that help families, especially single parents. Jack stared at her. I don't have a college degree. I work in a warehouse. You have something better. Integrity, compassion, the ability to see what matters. She named a salary that made his head spin. I can't accept this. It's too much. It's not charity, Victoria said gently. It's recognition. I've met hundreds of educated people who lack the character you showed in 1 hour. My company needs people who understand real kindness. Jack looked at Emma, laughing with Sophie across the room. He thought about the bills stacking up at home, the worry that kept him awake at night. But more than that, he thought about the chance to do meaningful work, to help other people the way he'd been helped when times were hard. Can I think about it? He asked. Take all the time you need. 3 weeks later, Jack started his new position. 6 months after that, the program he designed had helped over 200 families in crisis. Victoria became not just his boss, but his friend. Their daughters grew close. 2 girls from different worlds who understood that kindness was the bridge between them. On the anniversary of that carnival night, Victoria gave Jack a framed photo. It showed him kneeling beside Sophie at the carousel, his jacket around her shoulders, Emma holding her hand. This is who you are, Victoria said simply. Never forget it. Jack hung it in his office, a reminder that sometimes the smallest acts of decency can change everything, not just for the people we help, but for ourselves. Because in the end, wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in moments when we choose compassion over convenience, when we stay with a frightened child instead of walking past, when we recognize that every person we meet carries a story worth honoring. That's the kind of richness that truly matters, the kind that builds a life of purpose, one gentle choice at a time. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button and share it with someone who believes in everyday kindness. Subscribe for more stories that celebrate the quiet heroes among us. And leave a comment telling us about a time someone showed you unexpected grace. Your story matters.